On December 26, 2004, a massive 9.1 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia. This quake affected 14 countries, killed over 200,000 people, and injured many others. As the ground shook and the sea began retreating, indigenous communities such as the Moken in Thailand and the Si Maolueans in Indonesia, as well as many island populations in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, immediately began evacuating inland to higher ground. Because they evacuated, these indigenous communities mostly escaped the direct impact of the 100-foot waves of the tsunami that resulted from the earthquake. This became known as the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami. Many of the tourists and immigrant workers close to the water did not evacuate, particularly along the west coast of Thailand. These local indigenous communities had knowledge of the specific hazard, knowledge which they had passed down through generations. Cases of indigenous peoples identifying and safely responding to hazards have been recorded over and over around the world for decades, if not centuries. Another example, indigenous groups in the Solomon Islands engaged in self-warning and voluntary evacuation prior to the 2007 tsunami. McAdoo and colleagues in 2009 showed that mortality rates in indigenous villages in the zone of greatest tsunami run-up were as little as 6% of mortality rates in the adjacent villages. This is a huge difference. And the nearby villages were occupied not by indigenous peoples, but from immigrants from Kiribati, who had arrived in the Solomon Islands in the 1950s and had no experience of tsunamis. Our goal today is to think more deeply about indigenous knowledge systems and disasters, and how these knowledge systems differ from other ways of knowing. UBC is in the Cascadia subduction zone, where an earthquake of a similar magnitude, probably 9 or higher on the Richter scale, is expected in the next 50 years.